a very large opportunity. I can't wait until the day where we get to see a $6 million cannabis-sponsored ad airing during the Super Bowl. Now I'd like to welcome to the stage Susanna Puntel to talk through, with her colleagues and peers all around the NJ Cannabis Control Commission. Looking forward to the conversation.
We were told there were 5 chairs, and we did some math, but there's 6. So
I can't count.
It's okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Big thank you to Ignite It for having me back on this stage to chat next to an imaginary fire. It's really wonderful to be here with everyone this morning and to be here with these fine folks from the Cannabis Regulatory Commission. We have Commissioners Amelia Mapp and Harris Laufer. So I have the pleasure of knowing both of these folks, both personally and professionally. They are good people. They are smart. They're qualified. They're transparent. They're accessible. They're genuine. The list goes on and on. So let's dive in and get to know 2 of the newest CRC commissioners. We're going to talk for a minute about your lives before you became commissioners. And the path, what your path has been like. So you both come from really very different backgrounds. Commissioner Laufer, you've been involved in public service since you were in high school, and you've held roles in local government. You're the mayor of Springfield Township, and in state government you've had roles, and even in the U.S. Senate. And you were literally the lead staffer who helped to write CREMA, the law that legalized cannabis in New Jersey. And Commissioner Mapp, you bring decades of experience in accounting, finance, and real estate, public service as a member of the Union County Board of Taxation, and plus a history of advocacy as a champion of women and a member of the NAACP and the ACLU. So, Commissioner Laufer, we're going to start with you. Can you tell me a bit more about how your professional background informs the work that you do day to day with the Commission?
Yeah, sure. My professional background, I was a policy director for the Senate President, came from the nonprofit space, when people talk about the legislative intent of CREMA and the related bills, I was in the room when the intent was being vocalized. So I think it's incumbent on the commission to create an industry that not only flourishes, that goes from a $1 billion to a $2 billion industry and more. As well, we need to make sure that we are meeting our social justice goals and we are meeting our obligation to people who've been affected by the war on drugs. And I think that's really a 1-2 punch, and I think that's what my professional background does, and that'll translate hopefully to my work on the commission.
Excellent. Thank you. And in CREMA, that law that has your fingerprints all over it.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
The law states, and I'm going to read this, that all 5 members of the commission shall possess education, training, or experience with legal, policy, or criminal justice issues, corporate or industry management, finance, securities, or product or distribution, medicine or pharmacology, or public health, mental health, or substance use disorders. Like, really a run-on sentence there, Commissioner, sorry. But at any rate, Commissioner Mapp, there's quite a diversity of backgrounds that are called for in the law. And if you could tell us a bit more about how your professional background fits in there with the intent of CREMA, and how it informs the work you're doing day to day on the Commission.
Well, thank you so much. My background is basically in accounting. I was an accountant, still will be for the rest of my life, and a real estate agent. And anyone who knows that accounting, real estate is all ethics, policy, guidelines you must follow. The CRC is no different. It's a different product that we're dealing with, but it's still policy, it's definitely ethics, and it runs the whole gamut. So we're here to make the CRC the place that it needs to be. We listen to your voices, we take your advice, and we share it. That's our goal.
Thank you. So it's interesting to hear how 2 people with very different backgrounds can be, in the same role here. And I think that's part of what strengthens the commission, right? Having the diversity of backgrounds and experiences and perspectives really strengthens the board as a whole. It makes it kind of dynamic, I guess, or multifaceted. As long as you can still work together and build consensus and move things forward, right?
Absolutely.
So now you're in the job, and Commissioner Mapp, you have been in the job for a bit longer than Commissioner Laufer. So I'm going to start with you. What have you found to be the most rewarding about the job so far, and maybe what's been the most challenging?
I would say the most rewarding is seeing people get opportunities, people who would never have had an opportunity to get a decent job, to live in a better surrounding. These people are now working in the cannabis industry. These are the people who were thrown to the side because of over-policing in their neighborhoods. Now they're working jobs that they can support their families. They're working jobs that they have opportunities to do better. And I would also say that the hard part I find is when we have great employees, and when our employees keep getting backlash for things that the industry or applicants will do, that bothers me. I need people to do what they're supposed to do, and, the industry will move better in that direction.
I haven't talked to you about this, but I did see, I think on the Commission's LinkedIn, you were at the Blaze Responsibly Expungement Fair the other day, and maybe that was some of what you were talking about when you said...
I find that I like to attend the expungements because I see the faces of people. I see human beings who have been disenfranchised, and now they're getting their records expunged. Some of them know or believe that their records were expunged, but they haven't gone that final step to make sure that everything is cleared. So when I go to these expungement events, I feel good to see that people are walking out with that weight lifted off their shoulders.
Thank you. Commissioner Laufer, I have a question for you. So I think you've been about 6 weeks or so, right?
Yep,
in
6 weeks.
The seat. Okay.
I just found the pencils, yeah.
Okay. And during that time, it coincided initially with lame duck, which was a very prolific lame duck period here in New Jersey as Governor Murphy left office. And there were, several bills that touched cannabis that made its way through and received the former governor's signature before he left office. So given your background with public policy, can you highlight a few of the changes in some of those recent laws and how they might impact the Commission's activities going forward?
Sure, yeah. So I think there's two really substantial changes. One is, the legislature, the governor, they wanted to crack down on illegal sales. What 4847 did, one of the big tenets of that bill, was it mandates a task force with the CRC, State Police, AG's office, to crack down on illegal sales, which will in turn allow the legal market to flourish. As a mayor, when you see like a 50-year-old detective walking into a smoke shop and asking for flour, I don't know that there's necessarily a high success rate in finding illegal operations. So I think that's one. Number two is, I think the biggest thing is, we've loosened the threshold to be able to talk to the commissioners. There was a very high barrier to entry to actually speak to the commissioners. And a lot of things were being done by staff. And, when you play government telephone, you get the result of telephone. It just takes longer because it's in government. But I think those are the two substantial things. You'll be able to get access to Amelia, myself, the other commissioners, as the people, who are deciding on the board level. As well as the access you already get to staff. So I think there's less potential for things to be lost in translation.
That's great. And in having those meetings with business entities, either applicants or license holders. I think that'll be a real forum for one of the things I'm most excited about with the two of you taking your seats and joining the commission is your understanding of the business landscape. And, the cannabis industry in New Jersey is still really relatively young, right? But we are out of its infancy. Commissioner Laufer, you've talked about we're teenagers now, right? And so we need to behave accordingly. But we still face some real challenges, from access to capital to banking issues, supply chain complexities, compliance costs. So, Commissioner Mapp, from your perspective, what do you see as the most pressing business challenges that face cannabis operators in New Jersey right now?
Well, as you mentioned, access to capital. That's going to be a big issue. But I also see that as the industry grows and we get rid of the illicit market, investors would be more inclined to put their money into the market because the illicit drugs will have gone prayerfully, and the saturation of the market would not be, there would not be a saturation in the market because I would believe that licenses would have been cut back just like the liquor licenses. So there will be a stand on liquor licenses, an amount that is geared to New Jersey itself, so investors can make the monies that they are looking to make.
So as one problem fades, creates more opportunity, right? And Commissioner Laufer, this one's for you. I think everyone in the room wants to know, how do you think you can create a truly business-friendly regulatory environment, right? Because we need regulations that protect public health and safety, but we also need businesses to succeed. So what's your approach to finding that balance, and how might you work collaboratively with industry to develop solutions?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's important for anybody who's in a regulatory space to understand that, we don't know things. Like, I don't know. I've never run a cannabis business. I'm legally not allowed to, touch them. So I haven't. And I think, for me, the biggest thing is we need to solicit input from the business community, whether you're a one-store operation or a one-grow house operation, to the MSOs. I think we need to create an unfettered access between staff and the commissioner board to understand what the business community needs and allow us to regulate accordingly. Because if we over-regulate, the businesses underperform. And if we under-regulate, you may get bad actors into the marketplace. So we need to find the sweet spot, but we need to do it with the business community. And I would like to see a business roundtable as a function of the commission.
Very cool. So you're talking about this balance between over-regulation, under-regulation. It's more math. We already said we can't count chairs, but you're the accountant here on the stage, Commissioner Mapp. In that equation of having sort of thoughtful legislation, having appropriate regulation, and having good industry actors, could you give some specific suggestions or recommendations to industry as to ways they can sort of help themselves, right? You've made it clear you are here to support industry and to help industry. What are some ways that industry can help themselves?
Okay, one of the things that I would suggest is when applicants make their appeal for a license, let's say that you need a certain amount of documents that need to be presented in order to get your license. You need to present those documents. If they're not presented, then our staff, who's excellent, sends you a cure letter asking you for specific documents. Please send in the documents that they're asking you for, and your license will be approved. We do not go to motor vehicles asking for a driver's license. They ask us to bring 6 or 7 items. We take 5 and say, give me the license and I'll send you the documents later. It does not work like that. We need 19, 20 documents, whatever they are, provide the documents. That will help you to get to market sooner by doing what is asked of you.
I think you're speaking from experience. Somebody didn't have all their documents. Yeah, well, that's good advice that, you've laid it out. The commission has laid it out, some who preceded you, right, to sort of say, here's the roadmap, here's the path. And now with the increased accessibility of the commissioners themselves, hopefully there will be some more, efficiencies going forward. So you're both at different points in serving a 5-year terms individually. And we've talked about some of the goals. You mentioned this roundtable, Commissioner Laufer. Some of the goals you're committed to as commissioners to support a business-friendly environment, to help cannabis businesses, sometimes by helping them help themselves. So starting with you, Commissioner Laufer, now that we've moved from the CRC being an infant to evolving into a more mature body, what will it mean practically to have a more mature regulator? And what's your 5-year look ahead look like? Are there specific initiatives, policy improvements, or changes that you're hoping to champion?
Yeah, sure. So one specific policy initiative that I would like to see would be a business roundtable. I think success as a commission. Obviously, we all report to the governor, and if the governor thinks we're doing a good job, we're doing a good job. But more practically speaking, I think the way we measure success and the way we measure ourselves as a commission in terms of success is our business climate growing and our market share growing. I mean, at the end of the day, cannabis is a source of tax revenue for the state of New Jersey, money that gets reinvested in communities in need, and things like that. So I think we measure the success in, again, going from a $1 billion industry to a $2 billion industry, and so on and so forth. And another, specific policy idea would be, I think we should, just like we should initiate a business roundtable, we should initiate a social justice roundtable. I mean, this work continues, just like the business community, their needs evolve. The social justice initiatives also evolve. So I think we need to engage our community members in letting the industry adapt to the changing circumstances.
I could not love these roundtables more. This is the first time hearing of it. I'm very excited and eager to hear, what that means practically. You certainly have had town halls, and Commissioner Mapp, you led some of those recently around the CEF. But the roundtable is a really cool perspective. And I think it's a mistake to think of, some of us who haven't touched government that much maybe think, and I'm guilty of this in the past, thinking of government as sort of like paper pushing, right? Or you're just kind of following the rules, or you're putting something into effect. There's real innovation that can happen in the regulatory space. And I'm really grateful that we have commissioners who are committed to that. So Commissioner Mapp, I do want to give you a chance to answer this as well. What does success look like for you, over the next 4 or 5 years as your term continues?
Success looks like an industry that's thriving. It looks like an industry that the illicit market is no longer a threat to individuals doing legitimate business. And I mentioned earlier, this is where I see investors putting their money into the market and getting a profit out of the market. The business in New Jersey is really growing. As Commissioner Laufer mentioned, it's a couple $1 billion now, and we expect to see it continuously grow. It's going to grow as long as we can cut back on the smoke shops and the stores that you can walk into and buy any kind of product that should not be there. Go through the legal process. You don't go into another store and buy a cigarette that's made in somebody's backyard. So I see the market growing that way, and I see success that way.
Wonderful. Those of you who know me know I've been banging on that smoke shop drum for a while, so that is a good trajectory there. So we have just about a minute left, and before we wrap up, I want to make sure that our audience gets to know you a little bit more as people, not just as commissioners. So to that end, we're going to have a series of rapid-fire short answers that you'll both answer. You ready? All right. Who wants to go first in this? Okay, so we'll start with each time. Okay. So, Commissioner Mapp, last book you read or are currently reading?
The King's Speech.
Oh, good one.
I'm in my 5th time reading the Harry Potter series.
Classic, so good. Okay, favorite place in New Jersey to get a good slice?
Don't have one. Sorry.
As the mayor of Springfield, it is my job to say that every pizza place in Springfield is the best.
All right, well, we'll test that one. Coffee or tea, and how do you take it?
Hot water.
Oh, that's me. With lemon sometimes.
With lemon, yes.
Coffee.
Okay, and cream, sugar?
However it's poured.
Okay. What do you do when you have your commute? We know we all drove forever to get here this morning. What's your commuting activity?
Music. Bob Marley, Barris Hammond, different genres.
It's a combo between phone calls and music.
Okay. Do you sing to your phone call?
I legitimately will sing midway through a phone call.
All right. Note to self: call you when you're commuting. Favorite sports team?
I don't have a team, but most of you would be surprised. I like netball. I like cricket. I like track and field.
Awesome.
The New York Mets.
All right. Morning person or night owl?
Definitely night owl.
Mm-hmm.
I hate mornings.
Name a hero you have never personally met.
Nelson Mandela.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great question.
I did send you these.
I know
ahead
you
of time.
did.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Nelson Mandela.
Okay, well then, I think you guys are going to work well together. All right, I just want to do one more here then. Guilty pleasure TV show or movie?
TV show.
And which TV show would it be?
Crime shows.
Okay.
This is a not popular answer, but The West Wing.
It's all right. We're not going for popularity. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, and to the commissioners for their engagement.
Thank you.